Oh, I kind of figured the case would have ended, like this part would have ended there. Cause it's a good line. Like, I feel like this is the final bout. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I had a bit of skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked the candlestick over and set a fire to the carpet. Soon had it out. Got up the window. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could and throwing it. Plenty of knives around the place. Can't say I noticed one or two went missing up the street. That Bali thing at the victim's back really was one of ours. You have got proof. Can we dust it for fingerprints, please? Sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take the defensive measures. To be honest, the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute. Would have been toast. Of course, as a veteran citizen myself, I'm only aware that on every battlefield, we're just a whisker of death for many more. We're still talking about the marital quarrel here. Well, I must say, I'm dubious that this test way will shed any light on in combat, one focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer any more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Well, whatever the chances. Known as this last cross-examination of Mr. Cover interest. Yes, I'm afraid so. Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination. Jay referring to the wife and I did have. Hold it! All started because of the note that was typed into the pages of the book calling it a pistol scare. And the passion note back. What a sword state. This. Held on us. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it at all. Besides, have a bet with a wide mark anyway. Likely story. These waters were very deep. What transpired next, after multiple blows to the face? Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though. Hold it! Fire also spread to some items in the furniture, did it? Case, art chamber, armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bath water around that evening, so I sloshed it and put it out. Most precarious situation to put this on. This is 3-story town, also on the west side of so the water main isn't connected. A stipend for a study. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? obviously we're very well off. No, he's not very well off. Maybe he uses all his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, unfortunately. Not.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire? As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. It wasn't really not true as thought to take them, Mr. Naruto. How did you know what I was thinking? So, please cast your mind back to the treasure. Was the knife amongst the items you threw with her husband that day? Well, honestly, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, cabbage, garlic, towel, and a sponge.
By Jupiter! Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garrett. Don't shoot. Sorry. Beg your pardon? Did your wife's mark deliberately something to mine? Nothing of any significance, no. The barrage of projectiles all sank launched in my direction. Was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and a fire poker as it would go. Ouch. She just stole this poker. Good grief, woman, we're not home. This is a court of law. Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear. What's she even doing with the teapot? Honestly, John, you never would have thrown such things to you, obviously. Well, take a look at this, then. How do you suppose that happened? Your pipe, sir? I had the thing in my hand as usual the entire time. The entire song. Not to clean out with soft projectiles she did. Yes. When I went to pick it up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. Also, its pipe was broken during this incident. Interesting. Very interesting. It would never have been sent flying unless it gets hit by something pretty soft. Anyway, I managed to bandage this thing up for now. You're the one to exaggerate, are you, dear? Why don't you make it count? The defense will be Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be of great success.
Objection!
This is a war veteran's words. Only tell us one thing. Today a fiery wife and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to formal testimony. Indeed, common sense, one might say. In that case, will you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to integrate yourself with a young lady. Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. Huh? Oh no! Yes, I saw that. Some instructions. I'm gonna give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. Tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't. Small nick in the bowl here. Look, appears to have been relatively recent. The knife got thrown at it. It hit his thing out of his mouth, and it flipped out the window, and then dropped down onto her, broken in first. So the broken piece isn't in her bag. Sorry, say, paying attention. For some reason, it feels so ominous to me. It's shout. Or because it was Mr. Can't afford her. Think about the battle experience. Can you tell to the court about the knife?
Objection!
Mr. Garrett, can I ask you to take a good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eye Dead in the regiment, of course. That was some time ago. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Oh, he does, dear me. It's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and other word. He needs help. He needs help. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear to be the first tiny scrap in it is a factual, crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrett's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how it got in there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Count? Are you suggesting that this is some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road? I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in a court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unveil the whole truth of the case. Oh, did I just realize they put a milk crate under there for her? You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then. Present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of the entire case?
Take that!
This is a knife that was found in the victim's bag. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece of the tip of the blade that is missing. The common issue with inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips locked in their victims' bones. What of this particular knife? No doubt, the tip has suffered a similar fate. Now, laughingly somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
It's this piece right here. No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment metal we discovered in a chamber of Mr. Giradeb's pipe. What? Good grief, Lord Van Siegs. I don't believe it. The knife come from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh! Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. A miracle? Sir Van Beeks has figured it out, has he? Counsel, explain your exorcism. Yes, my lord. The crucial point that we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Giradeb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the utmost recent witness's testimony. Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with some sort of soft projectile she's did, yes? Never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh dearie me. During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on paved with blood, Mr. Giradeb flung his knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Giradeb and instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip of the break off, of course. Good lord! Yes, that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Giradeb's pipe. But the chances are 1,000,000 to 1. Yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Giradeb's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, dear. Oh.
Objection!
A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to dose my learned friend, characteristically incompetent, approaching to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it is just a city. The bottle, I feel, is gold. Because you see, it's worth by an insurmountable inconsistency. Insurmountable. What? Lord Van Siegs, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her. I have an explanation for that. The book came first, and then she bent over to pick up the book, knife. That's right, you little person. How don't know thing? What are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic fact of this case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. The knife that struck her had fallen from above. There is no possible way it could have planted itself inside the victim's back. Gah! Order! Order! Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen from her above, would have struck her on top of her head. Well, the book fell first. She bent over to pick up the book. He's lost her words. I knew it. Never liked his theory. Who knows? It appears that the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder. If the theory even has, if a theory even has one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. No, it's not. It's not history just yet. We were so close. We could see the truth. So sure we were on the right track. Now the way has been blocked by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand. Mrs. Hato, you mustn't worry, Mr. Hato. Just been caught off guard, that's all. Your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, the way will present itself. The key to this is a record. Sure. All the information you need to say. It seems you have nothing to say, my nimble says friend. Well, your silence speaks volume. A tactic and acceptance of your theory is fatally flawed.
Objection!
This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes! If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way it could have hit her in the middle of the back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying? Counsel! There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We've already have the same thing. Goodness. Utter madness. Surely it must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. Evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back.
Take that!
This, the forest book found at the scene, is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The Bud's book? Is that not Mr. Garnab's book? Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photograph print shows the book in question. The victim's holding it in her hand. As we all know, it was police constable that put the book between her fingers like that. Incorrect. He didn't put it there. It was already there. He just made sure to keep it that way. Quite so. As part of his wholesale transplant of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Constable made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When I first went over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. In other words, the victim had already picked up the book of her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have much of doing anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? By Jacob. I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh, dearie me. We all know the book fell from the top floor of the Garden house and onto the pavement below. At precisely the moment, the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly the same moment. The young woman was walking along the street in light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. The book I threw? Yes, Miss Garrett, and do you know what? And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Well, I can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked up the book. Boom, baby! Yes, exactly what the woman did, in fact. She picked up the book. Oh, heavens! And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book up, what position would her back have been? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the next object fell from the roof above the jacket, straight onto the middle of her back. And at the same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Well, I never. It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor, and in a dark fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. Ah! And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there was never a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that accumulated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might be something like that. There, old bee. Poor Mrs. Garrett. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. Let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book, and I threw that knife as well. John, dear. It's all right. I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry. Oh no, his knee. Lord Van Six, what news of Miss Garrett? She has been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events have left her especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern. Yes. Unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions. There is some good news, however, my lord. I've just heard word from the hospital the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will gain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her. How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems. Yes, that is good news. So, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Yes! On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. No, it was me who should be begging for your pardon. Oh no, Mr. Natsume. That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again. My confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman who was dead. Yes, Company said the same thing, didn't he? He thought the woman had been killed too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. Been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain, but still, I can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're hunting me for. Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has gotten the better of him. Yeah, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have gone for help. For a doctor. For the police. Instead, I managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. For that, I am truly sorry. One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit had been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps, where we were faulted by spirits and led to false conclusions. Well, thanks to Lord Van Zeeks, the young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken. The spirits exorcised. I highly commend you both. Oh! Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, Mr. In concluding trial, I must ask you one last time for your decisions regarding the defense's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? As the foreman of the jury, I can assure you we've all reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare that truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me for sure. Sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know, but I know her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time. I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decision. Mr. Foreman.
Not guilty.
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 Mr. Harden's pipe just vanished. He went, like he had it in hand and it vanished on the phone. It just vanished. Very well, Mr. Soseki-san. Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you not guilty. The fireworks inside, what the heck? finally, Mr. Natsume. Oh, yes, Lord. You are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me. Oh yes, sir, of course. All my life. I swear I will never set foot in a courtroom again. Transported to death! Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned. February, 3:17 p.m. The Old Bailey defendant's chamber. Oh, locum. Wait, you mean me? Of course. Is there any other locum here? Is there even one? According to your original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last, I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Hearty, hearty, hurrah! Oh, I'm pleased Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that then? Welcome, you did it! You saved me from the brink! Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. Just glad everyone can see that. No, not that! Lovely, loyal, locum, lawyer! Yes. I mean, as I said before, I just never got used to life in Kyoto. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see a foreigners. I see towering buildings. From high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback. Oh dear. I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you locum lawyer gave me the gloom the boot. Stood firm and barnacle bench for all those blabbering British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare baffling truths. And when I beheld binding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed. Behold, Banister, leave a burn! Well, that's very flattering. We're very pleased of you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's... Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Shams, what a pleasure to see you. I see I am here not a moment too soon. The disaster has been averted. Glad to say. Oh? The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, as I wish you the very best of luck. It just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain. Ah! It's you! Sherlock Holmes! Oh, have we met, sir? Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Holmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. A previous encounter had been taken into gloom. These are your big bloodings of that prison cell. I simply couldn't place the curious face in the light. Charming. This is all your fault, Sherlock Holmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you the piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have pleased you now. You're the fellow who abandoned the poor young lady and ran off all you know. Had she been taken to the hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have been regained consciousness by now. Oh. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. I do feel badly now how I behaved. Well, never mind now. Now then, what was it you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless. Oh, I'm sorry. Really, but that was quite priceless. Poor Soseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you have had an extremely entertaining experience without a penny. And, it would seem, you are not even found guilty. But there is no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits, and now by the Reaper! What man seeks. I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed! It'll be alright. I'm sure. Oh, it'll be alright, Mr. Natsume. Huh? The Reaper appears, trying to make trouble. I will protect you. Hi-ya! Gosh dang it. What a perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Mrs. Sato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experience to your friends back in Japan. Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh. It's already been a year since I arrived in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city has changed. I've come to realize that the city is calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. That's very touching, Mr. Natsume. Or, in perhaps less violent terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world, escape the terror of the Reaper's curse. That's not all! The more I learn of literature, the more strange this feeling caused in my insides. Hey, Corbin. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen my own work of my own. Oh, I see. Tuning in for work. Hello, Corbin's work. How's everyone doing? Work of literature by Soseki-san. Could be an interesting read. What about Miss Osato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? What about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustache compatriot? Why would we? The week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we finally found our feet. And you were accommodated in a hospital at present, are you not? In a hotel at the present, are you not? That's right. We have found lodgings for a bigger princess. Calculated we only could afford another 10 nights before our entire budget. Well then, you can take my lodgings. Oh, the windowless room. Ah, but we lack windows. Lack the windows. Walls that makes out there was floor and ceiling and walls. Great. And of course, I'm happy to leave behind the cursed earspits. Oh my, people spirit? Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. An infallible wake-up call. Well, think about it. If that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? Really? Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure this isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of. Oh, it's simply wonderful. It would be an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office as addict. I'm too overcome for words. So suggesting we look elsewhere is out. Then it is settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist. I don't know what to say, but thank you. And yes! Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long. Somebody's happy. Look, I know that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you two. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But welcome. We'll meet once again. We'll meet again one day. Yes, I'm sure. Oh, and hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, a carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what would become our new homes, 221B Baker Street. So this is to be our new office. Yes, our office? I rather like the sound of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I'd like to see if we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear friends, do you like this place? Oh, him not in the coat is very different. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it. Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you. I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. Well, as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives, we have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help too. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. Can't help but wonder what adventures will wait. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So, once again, Mr. Dunn. Welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Shook so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depths of the murk that lay behind it. That and was the first